because they meet each other otherwise too.
Yeah,
So
soccer practice.
All right, guys, we're gonna get started with decided undecided majors. This is one area of my biggest concern. A lot of students are tending towards undecided majors. All Ivy League schools, you cannot even declare your major till the end of sophomore year.
yeah,
Uh, but I have a lot of concerns with that. Some colleges do not allow students to declare the major till the end of the sophomore year.
yeah,
If you're sure, it is better to declare the major, so you can get scholarship based on the subject specific. Like for engineering, they'll have their own scholarship, which you won't get otherwise. Avoid taking extra
Correct,
classes,
yeah.
because if you're not sure, then you're basically taking more gen ed courses that may help or may not help. And usually, as I said, changing your major one time, your graduation time increases by 1.4 years. It is ridiculous, simply ridiculous. Why, why,
Yes.
um, why you should not be unless you have no clue. And see, here's my logic though. If you have no clue now, all of a sudden going to freshman year and all of a sudden you'll know what to do. If you cannot know now, what makes you think that you'll know something in 1 year? And your roommates will try to persuade you. No, you know, I can tell you right now, one of my students changed his major because his girlfriend is going for pre-med. Like, what type of bull crap is these things? Like, you cannot change because my girlfriend has, is going to, like, these are all the reasons we are finding out and messing around basically. So you have to be very clear, because you have to know that this is your life path here. So be very clear on this one. 50% of the students change their majors by the end of their sophomore year. Look at the statistically, things are against you. That worries me, and it really worries me. And I can tell you, for example, engineering students, chemical engineers, right? You know, students, when they change their mind, when they start taking physics, they don't do well in physics, then they give up, and then they'll change their major. So, not the way to do it. You gotta stick it out. You gotta stick it out. There will be courses in every major. You get one C here and there. Just suck it up and move on. Don't give up. Never give up on your decided major based on one or two courses, unless you just hate everything about it. The next big topic is the type of admissions, and I want this to be more of a discussion type. Early action is what the latest trend is. If you want to write it down, the early action usually is on November 1st. So
What year of though?
Of your senior year.
Okay.
Remember, you started your application process in Feb.
Yeah.
August 1st it opens, but usually the deadlines are on November 1st. And I'll talk a little bit more about why. I'm going to go back to my first here and talk about why it's important. So here's what happens. So let's say you're applying for early action, and let's assume that you started your whole process in the month of September. Of course, you may still apply in November 1st, but you know what's going to happen is, the students who applied early, their application has been processed, and they will start scheduling alumni interviews and stuff like that. So one of my students applied to Harvard. We applied on October 30th. The due date was November 1st. So Harvard did contact and say, I wish you guys had applied earlier, because now all the slot for alumni interviews are blocked, are booked. And she didn't get it. So applying early helps the school to give you more time to do the alumni interview. Alumni interviews usually doesn't hurt or doesn't help until extremes can happen. Let's say you're very rude in the interview, then they will make sure that message gets passed on to the university. Or there's something you shared that is super impressive that can help you with that admission. Otherwise, usually alumni interviews tend to follow a normal path. Doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. I've never seen anybody coming out and saying, you know what, because of this reason, it helped me to get admission. It has really not happened. Early decision, we talked about this. That's also November 1st, by the way. Okay? Only school I know which is early action and early, not November 1st, is Stanford. Stanford is usually October 15th. All right? So early decision and early action have the same date. Okay? And please remember one thing, you want to apply only one early decision, because if you get it, you have to retract all your application and you have to commit to it. There is no exceptions. So if you apply two early decisions, you are in big, big legal trouble. So only one early decision and multiple early actions, and it ends up being the money. As I was talking to Anuksha, it ends up being money. If you have money, if you're ready to take a risk, getting into high-end universities, you have a very good chance. Single choice early action, also called restricted early action. That means, so for example, Princeton has single choice early action. That means you go to Princeton website, and if you're doing single choice early action, they'll give a list of schools you cannot apply to. It's called single choice. That's the only school I want. I like that too. That means I really want the school that I'm going to take a risk of not applying to any other schools, because I really want this school. Single choice early action is for students who are determined where they want to go, and the school offers the single choice early action. Harvard has restricted early action as well. But they'll have a list of schools you cannot apply to. Okay. Rolling admission, that means you apply, and every month they review the applications. It's like a mass scale, Creighton and big schools like Iowa State public schools do that. Regular admission is usually January 1st of the senior year. So rolling is anytime. Regular admission is January 1st of the senior year. Ideally speaking, having early action, non-binding, where you don't have to commit even if you get it. One thing I want to talk about is why knowing what school you want to go and getting the admission there really helps. For example, one of my students wanted to go to Creighton, and that's the school she wanted to go. She didn't want to take any risk. She got into Creighton, and she immediately took it because she wanted to go to a certain dorm only. Mm-hmm. Selection of dorm becomes a big deal. The commitment date is May 1st, right? Where you have to make a decision. But if you wait long till May 1st, people have started booking the dorm. And remember, you're going to spend at least one academic year in that dorm, if not more. So you want to have a good time in the dorm. One of my students who's in Harvard, 12 of my students are in Harvard right now. I asked him, how's the experience? He came in the first Christmas time. He said, Manoj, everything is great. I wish I'd made a better selection of my dorm because my shower is really, really bad. And I thought, he's worried about shower. And then I thought, you know what, here's a good point. If my everyday shower sucks, then it really starts hampering my life. If once in a while it's okay, right? So these things matter. The real on the ground things, boots on the ground really matters. Knowing all these things matters. And some of those institutions are building new dorm. You want to be in those dorms. It's high tech and stuff like that. And some of the dorms have good food. Some don't have good food. You with me on this? So it all depends on making the decision quick. Now, another big topic of discussion. Now let's talk about Anuksha's situation here. Okay. So Anuksha, if you want to turn on your webcam, please. All right, Anuksha, I have a question for you. All right. So we'll make her the scapegoat. All right. So let's say you apply to USC, Michigan, and Duke. All right. Assume that you get admission to all three of them.
Okay.
But I'm gonna throw a curveball here and say, all right, I'm gonna give you admission to all of them, regular, Michigan and. But for USC, I'm going to give you honors admission.
Okay.
So USC honors, let's say you apply to Harvard too, and let's say you get into Harvard as well. Tell me which one you want to take at the time. USC honors or Duke or Harvard?
Harvard is very low on my list. I do not want to go there. I did not like it at all. So
Okay.
that's out completely.
Okay, that's out. Okay, let's start with
Yeah.
Duke. Duke regular, USC honors, but Duke has a better ranking.
I've seen USC's honor dorms. Honors kids stay there. They're very nice, and location seems to trump that as well. I love Los Angeles.
No, forget about beach in Los Angeles for a second.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the honors and she is really into beach, by the way. So so you have the honors program. You have the honors program, not so honors program, lower ranked university, but a regular school higher ranked but no honors. Which one you want to select?
I don't know. I think the honors. I think.
One thing I just want to reiterate the importance of honors school. Let me tell you what is happening. The latest trend. Arizona has a honors college called Barrett College of Honors. You know how many applications are going to Barrett? It's been so high. Demand people who are getting into Harvard and USC and Stanford, Berkeley are end up going to Arizona Barrett School because the honors school has the honors dorm, better food, study abroad programs, lot of scholarships. So you have to start making that decision right now. So let's talk to Alex,
I have
please.
another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you apply, the application is separate for honors, or it's the same, just a timeline, right?
No, there is an honors application as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about KU honors versus say Duke, where you can get honors?
I think I'm gonna get in trouble, Jayant, here by answering that question. She's hell bent on USC beach. Her major is beach, not pre-med. So, well, here's the thing though. Look at the rank difference between USC and KU.
Yeah.
So
that's a big difference.
big difference. So at that time, honors kind of doesn't value much. But if you're at UNC and USC honors, I would still go to USC honors than UNC. UNC is a better ranked school.
Okay.
So it has to still be considerable, not as considerable difference in the rankings, but honors at the end of the day is still. And the next question to all the parents here is, and even students here is, do I want to be an average in a good school, or do you want to be the best student in an average school?
Okay.
That's a huge question to answer because emotional aspects come into picture here. Some kids nowadays are looking at, oh, I don't want to go to rank school and be average. I want to be the average school and show I'm the cool and I'm smart kid and stuff like that on the block. So there is a self-proclamation of that as well, that what you want to be. So that's something.
In the long run, what does that help? I mean, if you say KU honors, like my son was getting in there, and also he went to
Full
Purdue.
ride. But you didn't want to go.
KU is full ride, while Purdue is not full ride, but is a better school.
To be honest,
Right.
yeah, I know. I think he went to engineering, right? He said computer science.
Yes.
Computer science.
Yeah, I would actually take Purdue and pay extra.
Yeah.
But if you're going for pre-med, then it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, if he does well in MCAT, it trumps everything else.
Yeah. And I think KU does like their own students, like you had mentioned earlier. They do. I've seen it. I know of kids coming back from Ivy League schools, and they have a hard time getting to med school here.
Yeah. So what do you call the college conversion rate? We call. So for example, UNL pre-med line and UNMC, University of Nebraska Medical Center, which is like now the hot zone of coronavirus stuff. They have a high conversion rate. Same with Iowa Medical School. The one school I know which is not high conversion rate is Baylor. 2%. 2% of students undergrad in Baylor go to medical school in Baylor. So
Wow.
yeah, it's all depends on which school, how is the conversion rates, whether they like their own students or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, can you turn on your webcam, please? So, you tell me, what is your choice? Honors with a low rank school or a higher rank school regular? What is your choice going to be?
I don't know. I think I would go probably with the honors and a lower ranked schools mainly because the courses might be more challenging and then would look better if I was like the top student at a more average school than say be at the bottom at like Harvard.
Okay, so you're looking at, so you're going with the trend nowadays that you want to be the top student in the average school. Okay, these are not average schools, by the way. It's a comparative average here, by the way. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I personally had likened honors a lot more right now. So let's say for my son, let's say he gets into MIT, he won't, but let's say, and USC honors, okay? I would still think about the USC honors. Because, as somebody said, money matters. How much money you're gonna get? You're gonna get a lot more money in an honor school because you are getting into honor school. So, thank you, Alex. So,
Yeah, thank you.
yep. So you guys will have 2 minutes or 3 minutes time to start thinking whether you want to do an early decision or not. So per family, you have 2-3 quick minutes. At least have an idea.
Depends on the school. Yeah.
I mean, most of it.
Yep.
Because it's not an easy decision. It's a big decision because money is involved here. All right. So, does anybody in our group is 100% sure that they will apply early this year? Okay. Is there 100% sure that they will not apply by early this year?
Nope. Not 100%.
Not decided. So you can see how confusing this gets, right? It gets really confusing. And as a family, you got to have a clarity in your mind where you want to go, and financial matters. Financial matters really, because if the admission to Duke is like 72,000, please remember you have to add at least 20% more in your travel. Coronavirus happens, so she has to come back. Tickets and hotels and everything. So please remember, whatever your expenses are, what they give in the school, right? The tuition fees, board room, and everything, you add 20% to it because that doesn't include mom and dad and sisters and emotions and travels and vacations and stuff like that. So 20%. And then spring break. Don't forget that. They want to go to spring break.
Then come to Manoj and tutor.
Yeah. So, all right. Open page 8, please. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about honors program. So it's based on the ACT, the SAT, and GPA and the major. The student can be selected for an honors program. Usually some school ask you to pass a placement test to enroll, and this is happening more and more and more. So Anuksha's parents, did your son had to take a placement test?
Placement.
For high school?
Yeah, when you applied to KU for honor school, did you take a chemistry test or a biology test?
I don't think he took anything. He didn't take anything.
Okay, so usually maybe he's
Because he was national merit, I think they just gave it to him.
Yeah, usually some schools ask you to take a place, like Iowa State. If you're applying for other schools, they have a placement test. Let's say, for example, if you're going for chemical engineering, they make you take a math test and a chemistry test, whether you'll be selected for honors. I don't think so. I don't think so. USC does that. I don't think so. Arizona Barrett does that. Arizona State, but some schools have placement tests to get into honors, not just your ACTs and SATs and GPAs. Okay. So,
But USC doesn't do early either.
what's that?
USC doesn't do early either.
Nope, no, they don't.
Yeah.
And national merit, and remember, one of the problems with the USC is Sometimes having a high score doesn't help as well. They think they're gonna go to some other schools.
Yeah.
It's like a false positive. Like, oh my God, like one of my students had a 35 ACT and he didn't get into USC only because they thought that he would go to some other big schools. And
Yeah.
and the big schools got rejected, USC got rejected, he ended up going to Iowa State.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, in the US, it matters how many celebrities are applying there as well.
And how many coaches you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yes, Carter?
Can you apply to like honors and non-honors? So like, if I want to go to Iowa State, would it be worth it to apply for honors too?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if we do get into it, it's a fantastic program. A lot of my students are in Iowa State Honors program. Really, really impressive. I still think USC Honors is one of the best I've heard, so USC Honors. Significant advantages, honors dorms, internships and research possibilities, higher scholarship student to teacher ratio, which is my favorite because you'll have one of the lowest student to teacher ratio, and job placement. So if you guys want to write down this, please. One of the things you guys have to ask, especially as parents, is when does your kids can get into research and internship? Is it during the freshman summer, or sophomore summer, or junior summer? That's the first question you need to ask. Second, you also want to ask, is the study abroad? Like for me, I highly recommend study abroad. May not be right now, but in general, study abroad is a great thing. Exposure to other cultures, other languages, helps you diversify your application for jobs. And you also want to ask about when you do the study abroad, is it just a one semester, one course, or is it a research study abroad? So study abroad is one of the very fast developing in universities nowadays, especially as the world becomes smaller and smaller, and transportation becomes easier and easier. They want to do a lot more. One of my students who is in Duke right now, she's done 2 study abroad, one in Thailand and one in Sydney.
Good.
So amazing. She had great, she just wants to go back again and stuff like that. She has a great experience. Please open page 7, please, page 7. Yes,
Do internships help you get into college, or are they more for like helping you get jobs?
jobs. Yep. Scholarship, decide who is paying for the college. And this should be very clear by Feb of your junior year. When you start your Common App, you should have that clarity. Because you cannot expect that clarity to just magically happen. If you have not discussed this and thought through this, you need to know, okay, I have a parent, they're from Lamarche, Iowa, and they have a great model. Doesn't matter what school their kids want to go, they only pay 50%. And they want the 50% as a loan so the students have skin in the game. If you want to go to Harvard, $70,000, they're going to pay $35,000 per year. You want to go to USD, $12,000 a year, they're going to pay $6,000 a year. It's a great model, and I'm actually liking that model. So that kids do understand that they have to be, they are responsible for their own actions, and something to think about. And maybe you can pay it off once they graduate, but at least a little skin in the game is required. Next, are you planning to apply for FAFSA, the financial aid? Sometimes you guys need to please write down this. Sometimes FAFSA application is a requirement for scholarships. So that means you don't need to, you may not get the financial aid, the federal student aid, but it's maybe a requirement to get any scholarships. So every school has a different model. So you want to be very clear about that one. Apply early. It's a first come, first serve basis. Know the due dates, because the scholarship due dates and the admission due dates are two different dates usually, called priority dates. So you want to create an Excel spreadsheet and make a list of universities on the left hand side and due dates on the right hand side, so that you know, okay, for example, admission is on January 1st, but the scholarship is on December 15th. So you're going to have a clarity on that one. Apply to all the scholarship. The worst answer is a no. Know the due dates for admission and scholarship, usually they are different, that's what I said. And I mentioned research, because everybody gets busy in their lives. And I can tell you there is so many scholarships available, local scholarships. For example, the next slide, it says source of scholarships. There is federal, state, and local agencies. For example, if you're working for a hospital, let's say your dad is working for a hospital as a doctor, and their own corporation may have scholarships. Like for example, there's a Tyson Foods here in Sioux City, Tyson. Tyson offers scholarship for their for employees if their kids are going to colleges. Some of them are pretty hefty scholarships. Even if it's $250, it's better than nothing.
For sure.
That's one textbook in college. So don't look at the values. Oh, it's $250, so I won't do an effort. Please, you have to make an effort, and this is mainly for students, because every dollar you make as a scholarship, every $1 you don't have to pay as a loan or from your parents' pockets. Subject-specific scholarships, especially if Anuksha is the only girl student here in this group here, and there is a lot of scholarship for women in science and engineering. So ask questions. When you go for campus visits, ask questions. Just don't talk about, oh, my parents can pay. That's good. But can you get more? Be very, very clear in your questions. Student specific, corporations, professional organizations, charitable foundations, and advocacy groups are different ways you can get scholarships. One of my students is now finished his engineering from Iowa State, computer science engineering. He had a 32 ACT. I helped him, it's years back, I helped him get local scholarships, $1,000, $1,500 here and there. But by the time he added up all of them, it added up to $31,000 scholarships. So whatever the Iowa State was giving him, plus the $31,000, he was left with only $2,000 total to pay in 4 years. Dad wrote a check for $2,000 and said, get out. My job is done. So his efforts saved the parents' money because they were not planning to take a loan. So you cannot be lazy. You just cannot be. I have a sample ISU engineering scholarship for fall 2018. Student with an ACT 33 to 36 combined score of 1500 or higher for SAT automatically receives a guaranteed award. The incoming student scholarship application is available to students who have applied to School of Engineering at Iowa State and meet the following criteria. ACT composite between 28 and 32, or SAT between 1320 and 4099. If the above criteria is met, a postcard with the link to the application will be mailed. So imagine this. That's why you need to look at the criteria. Criteria is very important. Once you meet the criteria, you start applying. So one of my students who actually had a 32 ACT score took our class when he had a 32 because he wanted to get to 33, so he actually could get into ISU engineering with that guaranteed award. And he ended up getting a 34. So I charge 10% commission. So any scholarship you get, you have to pay 10% to Manoj.
What if we don't get? Do you pay?
No, no, the opposite doesn't work. Also, one more thing, you guys have to understand that all this takes time. That's why you have to start from Feb. It really takes time to do it. So. Now, open page 1. Page 1. I would like to know from each one of you guys here, by the time they graduate from 12th grade, high school, what math courses you'll be done. So let's start with Rikav.
What like
What you have taken and what you'll end up taking by the time you graduate.
So I've taken Algebra 1 Geometry, and I'm in the middle of Algebra 2. So my plan for next year is Pre-Calc and AP Stats,
Okay.
and then AP Calc AB and AP Calc BC in the next 2 years.
Okay. So you'll be ending with AP Stats, AP Calc, AB, and BC.
Yeah.
Okay. Carter.
I've taken Algebra 1 in Geometry, and I'm on Algebra 2 right now, and I'm hoping to take Pre-Calc next year, and then Calc and AP Calc senior year.
Okay.
Again,
So you're
algebra.
10th grade right now.
Yeah.
You're in Algebra 2. 11th you'll be in Pre-Calc.
Mm-hmm.
12th you'll be taking AP Calc.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you make a comment in your notes? Try to take stats.
Stats.
Yep. Please I highly recommend every single student who are listening to this to have stats done. Stats is one of the courses we are finding out in college that students are not good at it and is really struggling. Data analysis, data science has become a big topic. So doesn't matter whether a pre-med major, a pre-engineering major, or pre-law, data is what is the future. So stats will really help you. And if you get to take AP stats, wonderful. Okay, cool.
I'm in geometry or algebra 2 right now, and I'm taking pre-calc next year, and then I'll take calc 1 senior year.
Senior year. Okay, so you'll be ending with Calc 1, you'll be ending with Calc 2. That's BC. Anuksha, how about you?
So I took Algebra 2 and then Pre-Calc, Honors Pre-Calc. Right now I'm in BC Calc, and then next year I'm taking AP Stats.
Okay. Do you guys have differential equations?
So something happened this year with that. I was planning on taking it, but our teacher who normally teaches it is leaving, so they're kind of scrambling to find someone to teach it. So I decided to opt out of it though, because we don't even know what teacher's going to even be taking it over.
And I would highly recommend that you make a very good point. You can Calc 2, Calc 3, and DFQ. You want to know who it is, whether they're good or not. You don't want to take those courses and you really, and DFQ is hard. Okay, Calc 2 is hard, Calc 3 is not so hard, DFQ is hard. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can do
That's
that.
actually like the reverse from people in our school. They find Calc 3 to be harder and then DFQ to be easier.
But do they offer Calc 3 in your school?
Yeah, we offer multivariable calculus, which is basically Calc 3 for us.
Well, multivariable calc is not Calc 3, but they're so it's a different.
They just call it Calc 3. But
Okay, you call it as Calc 3, but that's not supposed to be Calc 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so three-dimensional calc is Calc 3. Okay, good. Alex and Ryan, you guys go to both same school. What are your plans?
My plan is, so right now I'm in pre-calculus, and next year I plan taking Calc 1 and maybe Calc 2.
Okay, how about stats?
Stats probably senior year.
AP stats or regular stats? Or college stats?
Regular stats, because we don't have AP statistics at my high school.
Well, South Dakota has an online system where you can take AP stats.
And I'll just probably take the AP test online then, if I do
Yeah.
stats or.
So you can enroll in an AP stats class. That's what I'm trying to say. It's through the South Dakota online system. And you don't have to do the regular stats at the time. You're smart, I know you. So you can do the AP stats very easily.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Ryan?
For junior year, take AP Calc and hopefully stats.
Okay,
And
same.
then senior year,
I would recommend the same thing for you as well. As Alex, try to do the AP stats through the South Dakota online system instead of regular stats. You guys, especially you're going for math major, math and physics. You better be damn good at that. All right, so we're gonna go to the science discussion here. So I had actually posted on Facebook to all students and parents. The question was, which is the one course you have heard about your son or daughter which they had the toughest experience? And I started the discussion by saying what I hear and what I see is Chem 2, General Chemistry 2. That's your second semester of inorganic chem. And many people said stats and probabilities. Okay, as many people responded to that one. So my question to you guys is there any one of you here who would graduate from high school and will not have physics? All right, that's a great thing. Is there any student here who would not have chemistry? All right, so you guys are good then. So, my biggest concern is people are struggling in chemistry too, calc too. These are top two courses people are having struggle in college. Chemistry too and calc too. And I really mean it. So having a strong calc background and chemistry background going into college really will make your life easier. All right, so I think I've covered everything I'm supposed to. Open page, last slide I didn't cover was page 4, the SAT subject test. And I want you guys to go through slide 1 and slide 2 of that one. Many top-ranked colleges and universities recommend SAT to validate your subject knowledge, subject content knowledge. Usually top students take the SAT subject test, so percentile score can be lower even if the score is higher. For example, even if you get 800, a perfect score in SAT Chem, you still will have a 90th percentile sometimes because it's a curve test. So some students still have done better than you, even though you have a perfect 800. That is what happened to my student. He got a 790.
That's tough.
790 out of 800 in SAT chemistry, and his percentile was 82. So that's a problem. It is less difficult than AP test and much shorter, or it's only 60 minutes. APs are 3.5 hours to 4 hours test. Usually 2 subject tests are recommended. Usually tests are taken by juniors and seniors. This is the only thing, as I say, I wrote it as junior. This is the only thing I say you have to take as a junior. The rest, all the courses can be done before, but SAT subject test, you need to be very good because your percentile ranking really drops for every 10-point reduction in your score. I say next, look at this slide here. Look at, for example, chemistry. You get an 800, you still will be 90th percentile. You get a 770, you have an 80th percentile. 740 to 750 in chemistry, you're still at 70th percentile. So one of my students has a 720, had a 48th percentile. 730 is a good score. But look at the percentile because the group he is involved in students have done so well, the percentile really tanks. The same concept goes for AP Calculus BC. BC, a lot of very good students take it, so majority of the students who do well in BC have a 5 in score, 50% or higher. So when you guys take SAT subject test, if you are not getting a good scores in practice tests, it's better not to take the test because your percentile will really will tank very fast. If you're applying for engineering, SAT Math 2 is almost like a requirement. Like if I know Ryan said MIT, I would say anything without an SAT Math 2 in MIT, you have absolutely no chance of getting there. Because I know schools like Harvey-Mudd in California, top engineering school, they have to have Calc 1 and Calc 2 done. And they want to have an AP Calc score. They want to have an SAT Math 2 score. These are the minimum requirements to even apply to Harvard-Mudd. So some of the schools which are very engineering-driven schools are very high in math requirements. So I want you to remember that. So we have another 15 minutes for open discussion. I was hoping to be done by 5 o'clock, so we're a little behind. But I would love to take any questions, and this is a very important time, so please ask. Any other remedial questions? Anything we have not covered? Yes.
So if I'm planning to go to a more local school, should I even take the SAT?
No.
No?
Nope.
Alright.
Just the ACT.
Midwest is more.
Yes, right.
How does the AP test, does it affect your GPA whatsoever?
Which one?
AP test.
Well, good question. let me explain what happens. Let's say you're in an AP class.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in an AP Chem. Some schools make AP test as their final grade. But the problem with that is you don't get your grades till July. So 99.999% of the schools, an AP test score does not reflect on your GPA.
Okay, then what difference does it make if you get a 4 or a 5? Like, what difference is there
The
between?
AP is for the college, not for the school.
Well, yeah, but like eventually in college, what difference does 4 and 5 make?
Okay, good question. So let's say you have a 4, okay? I'm talking to Iowa State. If you get a 5, they'll give you Chem 1 and Chem 2 credit.
Yeah.
If you have a 4, they'll only give you Chem 1 credit.
Okay.
Good question. Yes.
So if I want to go to Iowa
Question
State,
about
Yeah, go ahead.
SAT sub
Go ahead.
test. How do you get study material for that to prepare for the SAT subject test?
Definitely contact me. We have been teaching SAT subjects for a long time, so I can recommend based on what you're taking.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Ideally, you want to be taking SAT subject test in June of your junior year. School gets done in May, you get 15-20 days, and you hammer your preparation. And I will tell you the second reason for June is you'll have taken an AP test, so you are prepared for it. So ideally, if you take AP Chem in May, I would take SAT Chem in June.
Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense, right? It's the same material, and you're prepared here, and SAT is here.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Carter.
so if I wanted to go to Iowa State, would you recommend taking AP Chem then?
What's your major going to be? If you're a business accounting major,
No, engineering probably.
chemical engineering, yes, 100%.
All right.
Oh yeah, it's going to help you a lot. Good question. Good questions. Yes, Rika,
This is kind of random, but like
please do.
because of I know this is kind of just specific to now, but because of like this Corona breakout and stuff, are they gonna move AP tests back or?
I just read about it, and that there was a tweet from College Board that they're gonna make some. What is the word they use? There'll be some flexibility.
Okay.
That was the word that was used, but I don't know what it really means.
Yeah.
But please follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I do this, so like me.
What do you do?
New Horizon Tutoring and Facebook Facebook. You can just follow me at Manoj Patil or New Horizon. Yes.
Would you recommend taking AP classes over gen eds?
If you're sure to go to local schools, I would do gen eds and not APs.
All right.
Because you'll save money and time in college. But if you're gonna, like your brother is one state, I would do more of gen eds for him through the dual enrollment.
All right.
But if you're not sure, that's where the problem is. That's why having an idea where you want to go really helps. Really, really helps. At least 100 mile radius, 200 mile radius, or all the way out to 2,000 miles. That should be how you should take the courses.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Yeah, you good?
I don't have anything. No.
Anuksha, any questions from Kansas City?
No, I had a question about the coronavirus and AP testing, but that was already answered.
Yeah, I just actually was researching before I came, actually. That's the flexibility was the, and you know what, actually, if I can read the, let me read the tweet I got. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, some teachers were saying that they might move them to August, but I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true.
that would be kind of
Oh my
weird.
God, I hope not.
I would hate that.
Gosh, of course I'm not finding it now. But one person did tweet that they should cancel all the APs and give everybody 5.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
that's another one
I'd
that
take
I've heard.
that.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, Here's a tweet. This is from Trevor Packer. I follow him. The health and safety of students and educators is our top priority. To support AP communities that experience substantial disruption or school closures due to COVID-19, we are providing flexible testing options and instructional supports for teachers. So
That's good. Yeah,
So-
but then it just disrupts every.
Yeah.
wrap
it
up.
really
It's
really
frustrating.
is. It really has
It's very
disrupted the
frustrating,
the daily life of Americans. So, any other question? Ryan, Alex.
Oh, but thank you.
So I know usually I send a text message after the class is done, after the program is done, about the feedback. So we have this time few minutes. So could you guys please, especially parents, and if we don't, parents are not here, students, could you guys please text us the feedback about this program and what are the suggestions I can ways to improve this program? And please remember, all these sessions are the whole session is recorded, so I'll be sending to everybody to watch it again. Maybe watch it again with your family and discuss. And remember, as part of this program, you really can ask me questions. Okay, but couple things things I want to talk to you guys is, remember I do college consultation as a family called FACP. We have 3 spots left. If somebody wants to take that spot, please let me know. We help in college essays. We help, we do Common App essays. Remember, Common App is just one of the essays. When you start applying to other schools, their school itself has their own essays. So we'll be helping with that one, discussion, college visits. So I would highly recommend to do our college consultation program. We have done so far 572 families have used our family academic consultation program. So you're more than welcome to join the band. So yeah.
I just had one more.
Yeah, please
How
do.
soon do you want us to at least so we choose the teacher for the recommendation letter, right?
Yes, you do.
And it's got to be one.
2 teachers and 1 counselor.
Okay, so then, how soon do you think we should be letting them know?
Well, you're a freshman, so you have a little time
Yeah,
so that teachers know you. But I would start making good relationship with them. So a little schmoozing would help.
He's made it, so he wants to know.
But I would say when you decide to, after the sophomore year is done,
Do
May
some
time,
more
just
time.
go ahead and say,
Maybe
hey,
our
I'm
favorite
thinking of
changes.
applying to college early, but I really want you to know that and I usually ask parents to do that, so that parents also can vouch,
involved.
voice it. So it's a very big deal.
Yeah.
It's a very big deal, recommendation letters. And I can't emphasize enough that's where the problem happens. I really do. It really, really. I have seen a lot of recommendation letters over the last 11 years I've been doing this. The worst one I've seen is when they had their first name and last name interchanged. That means if your own counselor doesn't care about you, why the hell I'm gonna accept you and care about you? So it's really important. It amazes me how mistakes happen in recommendation letters. So, yeah, it's a fact, unfortunately.
It is the town.
I think you need to give at least 2 full months for them to write one. Anything less than that, you're taking the risk.
They have a question?
Anybody?
I have a question about the recommendation letters especially for the counselor. If we don't interact with our counselor, how would they write the recommendation letter for us?
Start interacting with the counselor.
Okay.
Because
How would we, in what sense should we interact with our school counselor?
not you, but your mom, dad can start with a wine bottle. No, just kidding. But I would say, share about your, because remember, guidance counselor is a must. You cannot even have a choice. So, sharing your passion, sharing what you want to do, and yeah, you have to meet them regularly and share your passion and stories.
Okay.
Ask for improvements. Hey, do you suggest anything to improve? How am I doing in school? Do you see any shortfalls in me? So yeah, their letter carries a lot of power. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wine and cheese really helps.
Did you not hear it?
Any other questions? So again, if you guys can take some time to please text us the feedback, I really appreciate, and any ways we can improve it. I can tell you this is the smallest group we had. Last time we had 16 families, 7 online and 11 here, and the session went from 3 to 8:30. So that's why we stopped doing that. I even had to order pizza. So, yes, go ahead.
So will we still be able to like ask you questions after this? Like,
Absolutely,
Alright.
absolutely, please do. And I love doing this because this is something, the experience really matters in this case. And if your parents are interested in the family academic consulting program, we usually start from